Hey everyone, I'm sitting here with Josh Yawn, a man of many trades, host, composer, producer, and just all kinds of stuff, right?
That's right.
Right. So he's an entrepreneur in his own right. He is a small business unto himself. So we're gonna chat a little bit about some of the trials and errors he's done to get to where he is now, and the continuing journey that he's on. So the first question I want to ask you, Josh. Now I have to do a disclaimer that Josh is one of my clients, and so I have kind of a biased opinion about who you are and what you do and everything. But for everyone who doesn't know you, and everything, I kind of wanted to focus on the producing and composing, and we'll get to the hosting part, but want to focus on that because it's more of a behind the scenes thing. So we'll talk about composing first. Whenever you are approached by different entities to create music for original shows, for local shows, regional and national, how do you go about, finding I guess, fitting the right music with the right show?
You know, it all depends on the project. It can be anything from they'll send you an email and say, hit this point, give me a 1 minute track, use these instruments, and from there on use your own creative discretion. Or it can be something where they say, here's the whole pilot of this national show, write the music to that, you have your complete visual aspect there, so you have creative control in that right. It can vary from project to project, but either way, it's always a really interesting creative avenue to go down, and each one is unique in its own right.
Well, how do you find, I guess, the right mood? I guess, I mean, no matter if it's a game show or if
Right.
it's CSI or anything else like that, I mean, you have to find the right music and create
Right.
the right mood.
By the time that I come in, the tone is pretty much set for the show, and they're pretty specific about, this is a lighthearted show, give me a really fun sounding track, or this is a more serious show, give me a really, intense sort of driving, building sort of thing. So by the time that I'm hired, it's really more of a tone that's been set, and so it's always, pretty apparent to me what it is at that point. Rarely do I have to figure out, okay, what are they trying to go for here? What kind of sound? And actually, those times when it is like that is sometimes the most fun because you can really put your own vision into it, and it's more of almost a producer role at that point as well, because you're kind of paving a trail as far as, what should this sound like? What can I hear in my head that would fit this
Yeah.
to really sell whatever it is we're trying to, put across the screen.
And well, you mentioned the being a producer, and we also mentioned Josh is a wonderful host. Hosted a
Nice.
number of events. Yeah, I know. There goes that unbiased opinion, right? Josh is actually a very incredible host, very much in demand, doing a lot of voiceover work and everything. So it's almost like Josh Yawn is a company. You are your own brand. How do you? Yeah, and Josh does have a manager, which is me. I mentioned, and publicist, and now he has an agent, Pastorini Bosby in Houston. Cindy Davis is his actual manager. Cheap plug for them. Thank you guys. But before all that, you had to market and brand yourself.
Right.
How do you go about doing that whenever you're basically a one-man show?
The interesting thing about that, and it's something that we all do, whether it be someone in my position, someone in your position, or anyone's position, when you get into this sort of realm, you are the product. If you're working in a grocery store or something like that, you're selling products. Well, us in this business, we're selling ourselves. I'm trying to sell you on what I have to offer. You can bring it back to when you and I first started meeting about, you representing me as far as doing managerial work and PR stuff and things like that. I had to sell myself to you and basically say, or pitch myself rather, I don't want to say I had to sell myself because that's a weird way to put it, but I had to pitch myself on, what qualities I had that would be beneficial to you. So you yourself are the product. And some people, come to find out that they don't like that aspect of it too much, that you're basically trying to sell yourself as a product. But that's what it is, And it's got an entrepreneurial aspect to it, and any entrepreneur will tell you that, as you're pitching stuff, you're pitching a product, and in this case, the product is you.
Yeah. And you mentioned all that selling yourself. I love that analogy, selling yourself as a product.
Yeah.
So I know there's a ton of people that are thinking about opening their own business. They're thinking about, there's actors and actresses and producers and directors that are thinking about taking that step, and they're kind of going, well, I have this great vision, and some of them may even have a finished product.
Right.
But how do I, go about that? I mean, tell us about some of your trials, maybe your trials and errors a little bit when you first started out.
You know what? When I first started out, I was really lucky to have people who were supportive of me and really kind of, fertilized that seed that was in me to do something like this. And, all of us have these God-given traits within us that are, things that make us happy. It may not necessarily be in this business. It could be anything. But, we all have this sort of like path that we can take that makes us happy. And to get off of that path, is basically to die, to just go through the motions of life. And so for me, it's to do what I do, whether it be hosting, whether it be composing, whether it be producing, any of those things, all kind of scratch that itch down that little happiness path that we're talking about. That passion that you stay awake at night thinking, this is something that I want to do, this is what I love, this is just me. Yeah. And so for me, the persistence and things like that go along with having to get down that path, because it's not always an easy path to take, whatever your bliss path, as I've heard it put by people, is. But when it's something that you love to do and that you're passionate about, you don't mind doing that extra work, because half the fun is getting there.